just want to do a very short video clip on steering, attention to our hands on the steering wheel. And this is something that you can do in your own time. You don't have to be on driving lessons with paying a driving instructor to be practicing this. Just find yourself a car park that's not being used, empty, and at the right time of day to make sure it's safe, so there's very few people around. So what we're after is we're after our hands being on the on a clock face 10 to and 10 past position, roughly speaking. We want our hands to be symmetrically opposite each other, if you know what I mean. If there was a mirror in between, in the middle there, the steering wheel, we want our hands to be the same distance apart, generally speaking. The reason why is then we've got easy access to look the indicators. My hand's not going off the steering wheel, and yet I'm doing that, and on the right hand side as well for the wipers as well. We don't want our hands to be coming off of the steering wheel unnecessarily. Yeah, we have to have our left hand to come off to change gear and to put the handbrake on, but other than that, we don't really want our hands to come off the steering wheel because we want to be able to have control of the steering wheel at all times. And so, you know, that's what we're after. Some people have it a little bit low, but we're not gripping it really hard. Look, white knuckles, and the thumbs aren't in between, or aren't wrapped around the steering wheel. Reason why is because if the wheels go over a pothole, then what tends to happen is the vibrations, the juddering, the jolting on the wheels gets transferred through to the steering wheel, and so we don't really want that to happen if our thumbs are wrapped around there, because you can actually do yourself damage. So treat it like with a snooker cue or a golf club. You're not really firmly gripping it, are you? Yes, you've got control. You've got contact with the steering wheel, but you're not actually really physically firmly gripping it. And then let me just demonstrate this rather than trying to describe it, because you'll probably come across better. So loads of good obs when you're doing these exercises. So here we go. Look, watch this. You pull down with the right, you pull up with the left, pull down with the right, pull up with the left. And when you're doing the opposite, no feet here, don't do any gas or anything at all. So look, watch this. Pull down with the left, pull up with the right, pull down with the left, pull up with the right, pull down with the left, pull up with the right. I'll just pause there. So each hand, although both hands are in contact with the steering wheel, only one hand is doing anything at any one time. So they're working independently, kind of thing. Very odd, especially if you're not used to that. If you're right-handed, or it doesn't matter which-handed you are, but if you're not used to the other hand doing something, then that can be quite unusual. A little bit like when we're learning to ski, and the first thing they do is they get you into that plough position, and then they say to you, if you want to move over to the right, you lean to the left. What? Lean on my left foot and left. Hold on a minute. You know, you've got the skis at an angle. And then they're asking you to lean to the left to go to, and likewise if you want to go over to the left, you lean on your right. And so if you're not used to sort of doing that, it's a similar kind of thing, can be a similar thing with your hands. Suddenly you're asking your left hand to actually do something. Oh, I'm not used to that at all. So practice it. There's no great shame in that. Just practice it and have a go. You know, you can do it in your driving lessons when you're paying your driving instructor to do it, but why not have a look at this video and then with the friends or family, practice it in your own time. And just, you can use, blimey, you can go to the supermarkets these days and get these plastic cones, can't you? They're pennies. Put them on the car park if you want to, if you wanted to get involved, and then you can start looking at the width of the car and the length of the car, and you can really start, you know, getting to grips with this. But just looking at the actual steering first of all, that's how we go about doing it. I mean, look, sometimes you see this. Sometimes you see this kind of thing, don't you? And there's people going like this. Yeah, you see that? Or we go the other way. Hard work, isn't it? Whoa, 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 how hard is that? So what I encourage is that we do this. We start at the top and we go all the way down to the bottom. My little fingers are now touching each other. You go all the way up to the top. My two index fingers are now touching each other. You go all the way down to the bottom, and vice versa. Look, all the way down to the bottom. Little fingers are touching each other, all the way up to the top, all the way down to the bottom. And so what that does is it encourages a really good efficient use of the steering really, and so you'll find you won't be exerting as much effort as I was earlier on, you know, to be turning, and that will really help with manoeuvres actually. Because when you're doing manoeuvres, you'll tend to be in smaller areas, tighter spaces, and so the efficiency of your steering becomes all the more kind of, not critical, but you know, it does make a difference when you're trying to do a turn in the road or parallel park or whatever it might be. If you can steer efficiently, it does make a difference. Now, that's going forwards, so just practice that. When we're going backwards, I actually think the same. We should do the same thing. Look, slight shift in the seating position. Some people do this, don't you? You see them putting their hand on the top there, the left hand. Sometimes it goes around the back here, which is acceptable. But I personally would prefer both hands on the steering wheel, and I'll tell you exactly why that is. When you're reversing backwards, for safety reasons, we need to be looking backwards because we're looking for kids and keeping our observations up at all times. So the question's got to be, you know, how much steering are you putting on? Well, it's a good thing to practice this, a really good thing, because let's go into reverse. So using the same method as what I've just done, let me do some really good observations before I take the handbrake off. Then, so here we go. Look, I'm now looking out the back, and look at this. Watch this. Really efficient reversing. Keep my observations up. I'm not looking at the steering wheel. Now that's full lock. It can't go any further than that. Now you just watch this. Just get some more observations in. So here we go. So pull down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now 4, I know after 4 that my steering wheel is straight. My wheels are now straight. That will be really handy knowing that on some manoeuvres. Let's go the other way now. So just continuing on, do some good observations. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Full lock, that is. I can't go any more. So if I want to know, how do I know when I'm reversing straight without any steering again? Let's do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I know I'm reversing straight. I haven't even looked at the steering wheel and I know I'm reversing straight. Let's just confirm it though. Put the handbrake on. So I'm looking at the steering wheel now. I'm steering straight. There is no steering on. So on some manoeuvres, that's really handy to know that you haven't got any steering on. You are just reversing straight. Because when you're reversing, you need to be looking there. You can't afford to be looking here. If you're looking at your steering wheel and you're waiting for it to be straight, then you're not paying attention in the direction that you're travelling, which is a big, massive no-no. Safety-wise, your attention needs to be in the direction that you're travelling on. The other way of doing it, of course, is that you pause, could bring the car to a standstill for a moment, and then you're looking at the steering wheel and you're seeing when the steering wheel is straight. The only downside with that is that it's generally not accepted to be moving the steering wheel when the vehicle isn't moving, when the wheels aren't turning. Generally speaking, we need the wheels to turn before we put any steering on, because it's less strain on the steering mechanism in the car, and also it causes less wear and tear on the tyres, because the tyres are actually turning while you put the steering in. So yeah, this is all good stuff to be practicing, forwards, backwards, and whilst you're doing that, if you can know when you're actually reversing from full lock position and when you're reversing straight, I tell you what, that would come really in handy later on when you're doing manoeuvres.